Once upon a time, two boys grew up playing hockey in the village of Terrace, British Columbia. One of them went on to play in the National Hockey League. The other became a comedian. Now, one flies planes and coaches youth hockey. The other is still a comedian and owns newsstands. This is their podcast, Enjoying Orange Slices with Jeff and Ian.
Hello, Jeff Sharples. My name is Ian Bagg. The show is called Enjoying Orange Slices with Jeff and Ian, and sometimes Millard, but he said today I can't make it because Ian slept in yesterday. Hello.
Yes. But the great thing is we were supposed to do it yesterday. We'll talk about that later. So we're doing it today, but you blew through yesterday, and then Mallard, obviously, he just sends texts to us. He doesn't read them when they come back, and he totally blew by doing it today. So,
well, we're pretty good at everybody just ignoring texts. Is what I sent one out on, I think, Monday or Sunday saying you want to do it, and then nobody answered. So I didn't set my alarm and slept through 9 o'clock, the time that I said that we do it, because nobody had responded. And then you chose 2 o'clock today, and then Millard's like, "Oh, I didn't see 2 o'clock," and then I say, "I'm ready to go at 2 o'clock," and you go, "How about 2:30?" So it's the way of this podcast now.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the problem was we gave Mallard way too much notice. Normally, we like to give him about 15, 20 minutes notice. We weren't able to do that for him today. We gave him far too much notice, and he blew us off. So yesterday was a big day. We were all fired up, ready to go. And the responses came back, but they didn't get seen. And all lines were down. Radio silence from Lord Bagg and company in Southern California. So
you guys were worried about me too. You guys were panicking. Maybe there's been an earthquake.
Actually, I didn't call you once. I called you twice. I was like, should I text cab? Like, hey, is everything really okay down there? Like, did he blow a wheel? What happened? You know,
he was busy. He was busy chopping logs, sawing logs in the bedroom. I was like, I was asleep. You travel so much. You must just collapse every once in a while.
Yeah, you know, the biggest thing, and I guess we can bring this around to hockey at some point, but when you're changing time zones, because you change them all the time, I change them all the time, I find that I don't sleep in, like, doesn't really matter where I am. So I try and go, if I'm really tired, I'll try to go to bed earlier. That's not always possible. Like, if you're on the East Coast, it's 9 o'clock, you're not going to go to bed at 6 p.m., right? Body clock. Yeah. So, you know, that's the thing. You sit there and hum and haw. And so I don't really stress about it, but like in a case like yours where you just buckled, that happens every once in a while. But I can't get it to 10 o'clock. I might be able to get it to 7:30 or 8. So like when I'm home and I'm feeling it, I shut her down early. So
this is how last week went. When we flew in from Terrace on Monday night, right? We're home Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday night we flew out at 11 o'clock. Carrie Ann was going to Virginia Beach and I was going to DC. So I'm not going to Pittsburgh. So I jumped on a plane with her to DC and then changed over to Pittsburgh, right? So I get into Pittsburgh at 9:30, 10 on Thursday. I do a couple things and I fall asleep for 4 hours and then go do a show, right? I'm up until 1 a.m. and then I have radio at 7 a.m. I have to be there at 7. It's 45 minutes away from the hotel, so I got to be up whatever time. So I go there. Then I get back at 11 a.m. And I'm like, I'm going to go back to sleep for a couple hours. I stare at the wall for half an hour, and then I'm like, I'm up for a bit. And then I fall asleep at 2. I go do something, fall asleep at 2 until 6, go do another show. And then the next day I was supposed to do some things with John. He was sick, so I went and did some things on my own. And then we did 2 shows that night, get done at about 1:30, get everything dialed in, take care of the finances and stuff. Now it's 2:30 in the morning. My plane is at 8 the next morning, so I'm leaving at 6 to go to the airport. And I was just done. I was done on Tuesday.
You know, and if you think about it, like to start off with your radio, you get in the car, you got to leave at 7, or you're supposed to be on at 7?
On at 7.
on at 7, 4 a.m. West Coast time, right?
Yeah.
So up at 3, and then so you're like, hey, it sounds great, 7 in the morning. I think we talked about this before, but supposedly it's always easier to travel west. But years ago, I was over in Asia, back in the Cirque du Soleil days, and
Back when
we'd
you were
come.
tumbling.
Yep, it's tumbling, and we would come back for a break, or just come back for there was a break in school for the kids or whatever. We'd come back from Macau, mighty Macau, and I remember we were all up at like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. So no one could sleep. So I said, well, we're not going to sleep. We're going to clean. So we're doing dishes. I'm vacuuming. The kids are washing stuff. And I was like, so coming back east, it was just turned you upside down. But every time we'd go to Macau, it would take a while to get over there.
Yeah.
I'm guessing probably when the dust settles on everything, probably 15 to 20 hours, all in. And you get there during the day and you'd be like, okay, good. And go to bed that night. And yeah, you be kind of still some, time zone issues, but it always seemed to be easier going west. So you going to Washington, then Pittsburgh, and getting on that Eastern time and then getting up early, that messes you up, man. That
It
messes you up.
messes you up. And then I did a DVE morning show with Randy Bauman, and it's more of a podcast. It's kind of like this, and it's a group of guys talking and their sports and stuff like that. And they brought up who my favorite Pittsburgh Penguin of all time was, and I dropped Rod Buscus's name, and oh my God, you should have seen the faces in the room. What? What? How do you know him? What? And now they're like, hey, do you think you could bring Rod Buscus with you next time you come to town? You think he'd go out? You think that we got to arrange it so I'm there when there's a game that we can go to, and then maybe bring Rod out and bring him on the radio with me.
Oh, no brainer, right? Most favorite Pittsburgh Penguin of all time, Buscus.
Yeah,
no brainer.
Yeah. And then one guy goes, he must be so pissed that he left just before they started winning cups. Because he got traded like just as the whole Mario train started going, right?
Yeah, he was there when Mario first got started. And who else was there? Was Marty McSorley. Marty was there. Marty ended up doing just fine for himself in Edmonton, then LA. And then they had a cast of characters out there, and then they needed, when Mario first came in, they needed to make sure that everything was taken care of, make sure he had lots of room out there to skate. So you know what? We'd have to ask. It'd be good to get Busky back on. Ask him who some of the characters were on that team. Because I was thinking Paul Baxter was might have been there. It might have been just near the end of Baxy's time there. Jimmy Mann, he
had a great name.
Yeah, that's a great. These guys were tough as nails. And Busky and Marty, tough as nails. Like they just had all these guys. So they weren't getting rid of all of them. But yeah, Busky and Marty definitely moved on. I'm not sure whether Baxi retired or what happened.
Was Marty? Do you know, was Marty drafted by Pittsburgh?
Man, you're going to make me tough questions today. Hard hitting journalism.
Hard hitting. If I had a computer, I'd check.
You know what? There's a possibility, Marty. There's a possibility was or wasn't. I'm not going to say, but he. You know what? Yeah, he must have come up through the Pittsburgh organization. I'm guessing.
It's interesting that they only talk about they really only talk about him protecting Gretzky when they really talk about him.
Well, and Marty was in Pittsburgh, and then I'm trying to think. Well, they had Jay Caulfield was around, I think, when Mario was there too, but yeah, Marty then went out to Edmonton, and that's where Marty really made his name and established himself. And then he went to LA. He was getting 50 points a season. Like this guy, he was something else. But the McSorleys are great. They're all characters. I used to play for his brother Chris, who was a real character, who was best friends with the Hammer. Bob the Hammer Fleming has Hammer's Bar and Grill here in Vegas and Henderson. Great guy. So yeah, and Chris he was a little bit cuckoo in his own right when he played. So, the McSorley brothers,
The
when they were
nicest
on
thing to
the
ever
ice, you
say.
better know
He
when
was,
they were on against you.
he was a little cuckoo in his own right.
Yeah, well, and you know what? Chris was a hell of a coach. He could run a practice like you would not believe. Worked very hard at it. So
I
you don't
think
hear much about Chris because Marty was stole the headlines, but Chris was an excellent coach. Played for him in the IHL, and then I think he owns a team in Europe. I want maybe Switzerland,
I
and
think
he's
Marty
been.
still lives here, right?
Yeah, Marty's still in LA, isn't he? And
Should find him and get him on the show.
yeah, Marty, what a guy. Great guy. So him and Busky go way back.
That's awesome. Speaking of going way back, I've been getting some emails from a guy, Brian Sinclair, from Stewart. He ran the arena in Stewart, but he was. I guess we were talking about sticks one day on the podcast, and he was listening, and he said they didn't have a sports store in Stewart. And let me explain to people where Stewart is. So if you go to Terrace, you come back what about an hour, and then you take a left and you go north as far as you can until you hit the border of America. And Alaska, right there. On the other side is a place called Hyder, Alaska, and on one side is Stewart, and it is in the middle of nowhere. And they used to get a ton of snow, but they didn't have any sports store, so they used to have to get all their sticks in Terrace when they came to town.
Mhm.
So I guess they'd stock up on them, and I guess they'd buy cohos all the time. Is what they'd buy. I think he just left. Yeah, he just left for no apparent reason. All right, let's wait until he comes back. Apparently, the podcast is just me right now, talking to myself. Brian Sinclair and his sticks. Oh, guys, if you want to know about me, I'll be at Oklahoma this week. Tulsa and Oklahoma City. Oh, there he is. Let's admit him in. See if he's in. Welcome back.
Hey, you know
Welcome
what?
back.
Hang on. You know what?
What'd you
About to
touch?
happen.
What did you touch?
Technical difficulties. Here's what happened. I didn't put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I got a call.
Is
So
that
I
what
went
happened?
to end the call, and I was like, you know what? While I'm ending the call, I'm just going to end this podcast right now too. That's it. We're done.
I don't think I've ever panicked like that before. I didn't know what to do. I started telling him about my dates. Well, maybe he'll come back.
Well, we've done a lot
Oh
of
my
things
gosh.
on this podcast. I don't think I've never had enough. I'm like, don't talk about the people from Stewart like that. They're wonderful people. Don't
That
say they
was
get a lot of snow.
that was great. You just shut it down. I don't want to talk about Stewart.
No,
You know what I like?
that's
You know what I like is that a pilot just pushed a button that he didn't know what it was.
well, it's like setting an
I wonder
alarm
what
clock.
this does.
It's like setting an alarm clock. Sometimes you set the wrong time. Sometimes you push the wrong button.
That's
Just keep it in
fantastic.
the air.
Have you ever seen The Simpsons where Homer goes in to fly a plane and he doesn't know what it is, and they're at the gate and he hits the he hits the landing gear.
So they just drop it.
They just drop it. It's the best drop ever of all times. Like, oh, you got to find. I'll find it and send it to you. It's one of the funniest things. Anyways, back to you.
Hey, but I just want to back you up on the Stewart thing, because you said go to Terrace and you go back a ways and you bang a left. You gotta like everyone knows where Terrace is. They should know by now. We gotta put a map up. We'll get a map for Brian to put up where Stewart is. So
Not
Terrace,
today. We're
where's
not going to get it
Stewart?
done today.
We're not gonna get it done.
We're
Okay.
not today. We're going to get that map done, but we will get
We'll
you a
get
map.
Stewart up there, but you got to go back east, and then you hit a part of the Alaska Highway, which I don't know if
Kitawanga.
it's called is it the Cassiar, like the Alaska Highway, but is it the Cassiar Connector? Because Meg and Tyler,
Yes.
my daughter and her husband,
Yes.
just came. They drove up there in the spring because they went up to see my mom, because they
Uh-huh.
worked in Anchorage all summer on the Manitousca Glacier for the third year in a row, and then they came down and saw mom again.
The Manithriska.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's right. So Stewart is so great because you used to drive up to the border, someone be going there, and you go over to Hyder to get Hyderized, right?
Yeah.
Which was
Tell 'em
like
about it.
drinking liquor that was on fire. You might as well have done
Oh, it's
that.
gasoline. That's all it was.
Yeah,
It was just
it was.
gasoline.
It was like 91 octane. Here you go. Have some gas.
It was insane. I remember. I worked in a mine up there. So you go to get to the mine. You go across the Hyder, and then you take another road, and it would go back into Canada, and then you end up on a glacier right there, and that's where that mine was. And just to let people know, There was no border guards there. It was unmanned. It was completely. You didn't even slow down at the border at that time. From what I've heard, that now that there's like a post office box and you have to put a piece of paper in it. That's the border now, because you can't get anywhere from there or to there, right? You can't get any, you can't get there. It's tough to get
The
there, right?
next thing is water. Yeah. So
Yes.
you can get out of there, water. But so,
Well,
yeah. So anyways,
we used to go get drunk. We used to go get drunk at those bars at night. We work all day and then go down the hill and go to those hider bars. There's three bars to 500 people. It was crazy. That was yeah, and there was dollar bills all over the wall.
That's right. That's right. There was. I haven't been to Hyder or Stewart in a long time, but anyways, we don't want to mess up the story because there's a lot of dedication involved with playing hockey. This up there, you don't have the access to the resources you got to drive. So what would you say? How far do they drive? What's Stewart to Terrace? 2.5,
2.5
3 hours?
hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then Smithers, which would have been another option. But so you come down through Kitwanga is where the turn is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you drive up there. But yeah, so one of the things that's kind of the remoteness that you deal with sometimes in these northern communities or in some other communities in Canada. Like, it's pretty remote. It's a beautiful area, but it's remote, right?
Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere. So they'd come down. I guess they'd only buy coho sticks was the deal. They'd like buy bundles of cohos.
Yeah.
And he was saying that it was some pretty thick wood, which was annoying at times, but would come in handy when they'd play Prince Rupert.
That's so, well, you know what? That it wasn't the Halibut Kings back then because that was their senior team. Best name ever, one of the best names ever, the Prince Rupert Halibut. But yeah, when you went down to Prince Rupert, you better have some ice bags after you were done. And of course, in minor hockey, no one ever had ice bags, but better have lots of oranges because you need some vitamin C after you got chopped up. That's awesome. I will say this: if I had a choice, well, there's a stick called a Northlands too, but if I had a choice to go back to the wooden sticks, I would definitely, if you said, okay, you can only have one kind of wooden stick, it would definitely be a coho.
Really?
Yeah, because it was kind of the Sherwood was really hit and miss, and mostly miss with me. I love the Titan too. The Northlands was a great stick when I was younger, but I would have to say because you could get a lot on a coho. Like,
what about the Montreal? You ever use the Montreal?
No, you know what? When I think of the Montreal, I think of like carrying a 2x4 around.
Yeah, it was great. Loved it.
It was for you. Yeah. You love that high and hard. Hey, never saw a piece of glass you didn't like, eh? With the Ian Bagg breakout, slap her off the glass. Come on, Trent, go get it. Hey, Trent be skating his rear end off out there. Yeah, yeah. And I don't know why he's still your friend, because when you did stuff like that to him, come on.
Yeah. It was my stick.
Yeah. And then he decided, enough of this. I'm going to be a smart guy and become an architect.
He's so much better than us. Yeah, he's so much better. There was guys that played hockey up in Terrace that could only hit the glass. They would never hit the boards. They would only hit the glass. Me, on the other hand, I just shot everywhere. I was the Pacioretty of Terrace.
That's you. But you think about it today. Okay, so let's just talk about the glass.
Sorry, let's. Okay, you're
gonna go. Okay, we'll talk about sticks too, but I want to talk about the glass, and then we can get to the sticks. So here's the thing: your breakout, you never missed one because you always hammered it off the glass. But you know what? Do you ever remember shooting it in the stands? Never. And now today, these guys. Okay, here's
sitting in the box for two.
Yeah, here's your risk reward. Your risk is off the glass, icing. Okay? Your reward is off the glass and it doesn't get down there and everyone can get off. Your risk with flipping it is 2-minute minor.
Yeah.
Your reward for flipping in the stands, or maybe hitting the glass and it only goes out to neutral ice. I get it, but I'm like, I really think the NHL teams now, and these guys have so much skill and the rest of it, but I'm like, I would rather have you go ahead and just rip it off the glass, try and get the best angle you can. Might not work out, but at least go hard off the glass. It might just go out to the neutral zone. It might go down by the far blue line. You might ice it, But here's the problem. Well, we want to flick it soft dump because we don't want to, we're getting near the end of our shift or whatever. Sometimes it just gets away on you. I get it. But let's just say we're playing Edmonton. Well, if I ice the puck, right, and we've been out there for a minute and a half, I'm getting McDavid. Okay, I know
Right.
he's coming out. If I shoot it in the stands, now I'm getting McDavid with Draisaitl and all the rest of them 5-on-4 for 2 minutes.
And
Same thing with
you're not even going to be there. You're going to be in the box.
that's right. So I see it. There seems to be one a night, maybe sometimes more, and I'm like, I know that guys have way more touch than when we used to play because the game has changed so much,
The
possession
stick has
and the rest
changed
of
so much.
it has, and it's great. But I really, man, I don't know. It's like shooting for the open net. You'll shoot for the open net every time you can, and you'll take a draw back in your zone, right? At the end of the
Hmm.
game when the other team's pulled their goalie. So what's the difference of going hard off the glass during the other part of the game? I'm just getting so and
I like it. It's got you fired up today. I
no,
like
but
it.
it's awesome. But the other part about it is if I had to rip one off the glass of Coho, you could always get some good wood on that.
Uh, so the co-host, do you remember what numbers were on that co-host that you liked?
Well, there's an 8, I think, at 2 8s on it. If I could go to the garage, I probably got one in the garage still. I got about 100 hockey sticks out there. Most of them totally useless because I couldn't use them today.
Because they're
And
waterlogged.
well, the wooden ones, I like the Coho. If like I said, if you were going to give me one, I would have gone Coho. Seemed to have a pretty good curve, and you could lean on them pretty good.
Mhm.
But then, I don't know what the number was on them, and I really thought that the Sherwood was like just kind of fell dead in your hands, and it was like just nothing there.
That's
Louisville had
interesting.
a stick for a while. Titan was good, but
I like the 50-30 as well. The 50-30 Sherwood. I like that one. Let us
yeah.
know. Let us know out there, guys, the older guys, what stick you love. There's a wood stick, and if you're a younger guy and you listen to this, let us know if you even ever tried a wood stick. I'd love to know if there's guys that have never touched a wood stick before. So,
It's interesting talking about the sticks is I went out the other day with one of the high school teams in town here
mhm.
and jumped on with them. And one of the kids had a stick, and I was just BSing with them, and it's like, and we just got talking. He's like, "Hey, what's up with that stick?" And I said, "A buddy of mine gave it to me, and it's a great stick. I think it's a
It's free.
Veleno. Yeah, I think it was Veleno and I think it's like a 75 or 80 flex. I need about a 50 now, but a 75 or 80. So he gives me his stick. He goes, "Yeah, this is Coach's stick." I went to grab it, and I couldn't hold it up. It was an older composite, like it was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna guess 3 or 4 years old, maybe a little older than that. But as soon as I grabbed it, it took me back. Like it was like, oh my, is this a stick from 20 years ago? Like
That's
the
funny.
difference in the weight. And the coach had his stick, so they switched sticks. He gives me the new stick he's got.
To make them work it to make them work out with it, or
Yeah,
why
just
did
to
you get?
just go, hey, listen, don't, because here's what the kids do today. And if there's any kids out there, parents, here's the deal. Okay, here's what I hear all the time. Oh, my gloves, oh, my skates, oh, my stick. So I think the coach said, hey, don't tell me about your stick. Go and shoot a couple pucks with this one. And
Yeah,
so I'm gonna put a wooden
try
stick in
coaching
my,
with this stick.
yeah, he's like, try standing with this, holding yourself up all day. So my thing to the kids is if you're going to go, first of all, the coach you're playing for now, I don't want to hear it when I'm out there with you, but the coach you're playing for now doesn't want to hear it. And anywhere you go or you want to go, there's not a hope that coach wants to hear it.
Right.
Like, and it's all brand new stuff. It's not like the stuff, it's not a Sherwood 50-30 or whatever that was, or a
Right.
Coho 88-75 or whatever the number was on those
With a
codes.
coffee curve. Oh my God.
That's right. That's right. And so it kind of made me laugh. But the sticks, you talk about the wooden ones, and I have some in the garage. I'm going to throw them in the truck and take them out when I go on the ice, and just take them with me and go, hey, here you guys
Try it.
go. If you want to complain about something, complain about this, because I know times pass those by, right? So these kids
Hmm.
would never. and they don't care. Like they don't want to hear, oh, we walked to school 10 miles uphill both days,
But if
walked
you let
home,
but if you
you
let them
know?
try it, if you let them
Yeah.
try it, it's different if you can try it. Like give a goalie a pair of horsehair pads. You know what I mean? With the leather in it that got wet and just got heavier through the season. Like
There's no
those.
way those are drying. Like in a place like
Yeah,
Terrace or even like Vancouver, unless you had a dry area, there was no way. Or like
no,
you had a
I'm
place in
just
your
saying
house that
no.
were warm, not a hope, right? Not a
Yeah,
hope those were drying. And
yeah.
now, and I know things have changed, but I kind of laugh when I think about it. I'm like, man, what I'd give for, I got to go, I got to go to Randy's Pro Shop and get myself a new set of gloves.
We got to get
The
him
other
a
day,
we got to get him a neon sign made. Randy's Pro Shop.
he
We should get him
he
one up for
texted me.
Christmas.
He texted me the other day. He goes, "What size is your skate?" I'm like, "That's nothing else. Not how are you doing? What size is your skate?" And I go, "Well, 10 skate, I think." And he goes, "Okay." I go, "Why do you? Is there a good deal at the pro shop on skates right now?" Yeah, because how does the skate work? It goes a size and a half. Like if you're, I
Size
forget.
half a size smaller.
Is it half? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think
Then
it's a
I
half.
gave him the wrong size.
Would
No,
you
it's
say
a
half
size
size
and a
bigger?
half, I thought. I thought it was a size and
No,
a
I don't
half.
think it's. I don't think it's. I think it's only half a
Ooh,
size.
ooh, okay.
You
Well,
might be. You might be in some tight skates. Is what
I
you're
might,
saying.
I'm gonna be in trouble. Yeah, I'm gonna be in trouble because I thought it was a size and
Coaches
a
is out
half.
in coaches out in his ballerinas.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on my arches. So, oh, I
It might
didn't.
be. I
I
thought it
thought it
was
was
only
size and
half.
a half. Well, you know what? And I saw Dana last night. The Kings were here.
No, you seen him? I haven't seen him in
I
about
wasn't at
6
the game.
months.
I seen him on TV. Looks
Oh,
good, high and tight. So we should text
he's
Dana,
awesome.
and then we'll get everybody an answer. But most people probably already know. They're like, you guys have no idea. And to be
Yeah,
honest with you, I thought it was your shoe size minus a size and a half is your skate
I
size.
I thought it was your shoe size minus half a size. I'm gonna bring something else up from old school. How old were you? Two things. How old were you when it went from fencing to glass in the terrace arena? And then second half, wow, how old were you when it wasn't just glass in the end zones, they put it all around?
That's a great question because I think I might have been gone or pretty close to gone when that happened because now this is crazy how some things will just make you stare at them. But when we put plexiglass yeah, we put plexiglass in the terrace arena,
Hmm.
people would just go up and just look at it. It was like, this is so much better because we used to have the
Yeah.
chain link fence, basically, right? That style to keep the pucks in.
And it
And
was
then
just in the corners. It was just in the corners to let people know.
I don't know because here's a story. And then maybe you can help me out with this. I remember when I first played in the Western Hockey League, 16 years old. Seattle had chicken wire.
Hmm.
They didn't have, and then they had a piece of rubber like about the size of like an escalator piece of rubber like that all the
Uh-huh.
way around the board. So every time you got hit in the board, you'd be like, whoa, like you
It
know what
just
I
grab
mean?
you.
Yeah, I'll grab you. Like, hey, anybody want a separated shoulder day? How about a dislocated one? That might be better. Still can't believe they got away with that because I remember in Seattle one night, it was getting way out of hand. I think it was just before Christmas, matter of fact. And, and one of our guys, Dave McClay, great guy. We used to call him Weed Boy. Because
Weed boy.
weed boy, because I don't know whether the coach thought he was smoking weed or his head was in the weeds back then. So we called him Weed Boy. He's awesome. Dave McClay is a great
Love
guy.
it.
Chilliwack, British Columbia, I believe.
Ah,
Uh, and so it's getting a little testy and weeds. We just call them weeds. Weeds
weed.
was rough and tumble guy. Like he didn't back down from it. So gets in a tussle with one of their tough guys. And while they're holding them up against the chicken wire, separating them, they're like, the Seattle crowd is one of the classiest crowds I ever remember. They're like, they're swearing at him, screw you, McClay, screw you, McClay. And he's like, of course, he's 17 years old. He's not going to take that. He's like, so he starts giving it back to them. Boom, 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 through the chicken wire, chew, cup, all over his
No
shoe.
way.
They're throwing chew on him through the chicken wire, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So,
Ah,
yeah. Yeah, but now you can't get over the plexiglass to do that. I guess you
Oh my
could.
God,
Oh, it
that's
was a complete gong show. I can't even
crazy.
remember where it was in the building. That building downtown, it wasn't the Key Center or the Climate Pledge where they play now, but it was the Seattle, I think, Coliseum, right downtown Seattle. And so
Oh
I
my
remember
God.
chicken wire. So I was 16 then. So I don't know when your question was on plexiglass or the glass in around our home rink. I don't remember. I just remember walking in there and going, this place looks totally different and way bigger.
And better than Seattle.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and the good news
When
about the
okay.
corners,
So when you
yeah,
came up, when you came up and you played with the Kelowna, you guys played
yeah, Kelowna
an all.
wins. Yep.
You played an all-star team from Terrace, right? I don't know who or somebody or no, was it a different team? Was it a different junior team?
No, we Seattle actually came up with this. That was year 2 or 3. Seattle came up with this. And I'll just finish this story on the Seattle Coliseum. I think it was Coliseum. It's downtown. Might have knocked it down now. Not only did we have like the escalator rubber around at shoulder width, so every time you got hit on the boards, you just get ripped apart. We had the chicken wire with just the craziest fans going ever, throwing chew, dumping stuff on our bench through it. It was nuts. It basically had square corners. Like if
That's
you
funny.
went to go wrap the puck, it would come right out in the slot. It's like,
Ding
no, no,
dong,
this
pinball.
this this rink's square. But when
Uh,
we went
and
up to
and you
Terrace,
know what their
yeah,
advertisement was? Sunday, Sunday,
Sundays.
Sunday.
Yeah, yeah,
You can
and
buy the
that's
full
how
seat,
it would
but you
be.
don't gonna eat the edge.
That's how you have to start advertising your shows. But
Uh,
just whatever, Thursday, Thursday,
Thursday.
Thursday, Lord
That's
Bagg.
funny.
And here's another way that would go. So we would go just to kind of because a lot of them were Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Especially when I got well, Portland. I guess they were still playing in that building, but we would end up a lot of times in Seattle Sunday afternoon. So you'd go something
No
like
way.
you'd
They were
go
throwing
something.
chew on you on Sunday afternoon.
Oh well, and but you know what? When we got to Portland, that
Not
was one of the
not an eight
weekend
o'clock
games.
Thursday. Yeah,
So yeah,
not an 8 o'clock on Thursday throwing chew at you.
no,
Sunday afternoon, Lord's
yeah.
Day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you know what? We were just before Christmas on that one. I remember because we
Praise
were all
him.
looking forward to getting home for Christmas. We had to get some chew spilled thrown on us first.
Just to remember why you're going home.
Oh
I
yeah.
love it.
Oh yeah. And then
So
guys out in the parking lot wanting a piece of you after. And I'm like, where could that go, right? And guys are
it's
like, hey,
fantastic.
we just want to get on the bus so we can have our Arby's sandwich or whatever, our Subway sandwich. And they're like, but we had a lot of guys who were, we got to get in the scrap first, though.
That's funny. We got to beat up the locals before we leave
Yeah,
this
yeah,
stuff.
we got to go go get in fights with these guys.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
So,
chasing you
yeah,
down the freeway. Yeah.
yeah. A slap shot wasn't too far from the truth. It was a mixture of a little bit from every hockey community in North America. So
Well, so they didn't have to go very far for like this when they started writing that, they didn't have to go
hmm
very far. And they picked a perfect building, Johnstown. Well, the Chiefs, but that most of Slapshot was filmed in Utica, where was I played with the Devils in their farm system, and the building was perfect for it, right? So
funny.
yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to it. So Seattle and Kelowna go up to Terrace, and is there full wraparound glass at that time?
I think there was by then. So that would have been, I guess, I don't know. Are you trying to trick me today? Like, do
No,
you
I'm
know
just
when it was?
I don't. I was just like all these arenas now have like you have to meet this standard and to have an arena. And back in the day, it's just like you built what you thought was close to an arena. You know?
Yeah. Well, we were just happy getting dressing room 1 or 4 in Terrace. You just didn't want 2 or 3, right? Because
So
dressing
true.
room 1 and 4 were like a master bedroom. Like they were like, oh my, you had so
Huge.
much room in there. And 2 and 3 was like going to get dressed in a closet.
Did 2 and 3 have showers? I don't even think they did,
I
right?
I don't know if I don't think they did. No, I don't. I mean,
They were tiny. They were
oh my
tiny.
God. They were put in there
They
for the
still are.
little ones, right? For the
Yeah.
little
Even then.
U8s and U6s and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, um,
Everything's changed so much. So I guess kind of just to put a bow on this, like you were talking about all over the place. but the resources and everything has changed so much for the kids that play today. I mean, and I'm all for it. Just even little things like your dressing room or the chicken wire or the glass, like, and so everything's kind of taken a big quantum leap forward, which is obviously what we want. So
It's amazing. Guys, backyard rinks now have logos painted in them. Like everything has picked up the pace so much more. It's insane. Like we used to have backyard rinks that were half frozen and half melted.
and every time I think of a backyard rink, I think of Flats' dad, Ray Flaherty, out there, go drive his logging truck all day, and then be out there doing the rink at night. And we were praying that we were like, please be below freezing overnight, please. And of course, in Canada, right, Celsius, so we'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, -1 overnight, -2. We're like, oh, right on, right on. And then it would be +3 or +4 during the day. We're like, oh no.
No.
And of course, +3, +4 is high 30s, low, we're right around just below 40 degrees. And that was just, you think, oh, that's still cold. No, it's not. It's you.
Mhm.
So we needed, like, we started praying when Ray got the snow and the old hose out there. We started praying -10, please, like freeze that thing up so we could go skate in the morning, go to school, and go skate after. And then he put lights out there.
No,
Now,
I don't remember him having lights. That's pretty crazy.
yeah, he put lights out there, and then Ray was ahead of his time. Like this was way, way back then. Now these guys they have lights in the ice.
In the
Right?
ice, I haven't seen that.
I thought I saw a guy up in Calgary with lights in the ice. It was on like YouTube, like he could light up the ice.
Crazy.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah.
Half the neighborhood electrocuted, but it's fun times. I love it. I love what we've talked about. We've talked about the old times today. We might as well talk a little bit about the league, right?
Well, we're here.
Well, we're here. You got to say you've seen Dana on TV. Have you done it? Have you done a pre-game yet?
I did the San
Just
Jose
preseason.
Vegas last preseason game. I'm scheduled. They're holding me off. They're like, we don't want to get you going too early. I'm supposed to do some stuff with the VGK in November. So it's been great. But I had so much fun with Mallard and everyone. Like they all treat me so good. But I had so much fun with Mallard when we did the preseason game in San Jose and or in Vegas with San Jose. And San Jose came back on Vegas and scored 3 goals in the last, I don't know how many minutes of the game. And it's happened to Vegas a couple times already during this regular season. They cleaned it up last night against LA, and they're off to a pretty good start. But I felt so bad because I'm like watching San Jose because our buddy Dougie Huda's there, right? We want San Jose to do well, and they're 0-5 as we tape this, 0-5-1 maybe. And I'm
And
like,
isn't Celebrini? Isn't he hurt?
yeah, he played the first game.
Have you heard what he's got going on?
Lower body, he had it in
Oh my
training
God.
camp.
Lower body could be anything from your neck
Well,
down.
you know what? Exactly. Here's a question. The NFL, if they don't report, and I know they only play once a week, but if they don't report, and if there's any kind of funny stuff, like they'll put guys on as what do they have? Probable, questionable, or probable,
Right.
doubtful, questionable. I think questionable is another way of saying he's not going to play. But like they have very strict guidelines. Every commercial in the NHL now is about gaming.
Gambling.
And so, but the NHL's like, we're just going to tell you it's lower body or upper body. You're going to have to guess. Now, the teams know, right?
Yeah.
But if you were
I
to
hope.
say to me,
I hope the teams know.
well,
It'd be terrible if
the
the
teams
teams
are playing against, they'd all know, right?
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
make sure you chop 46 on the arm. It's his left arm. He's been favoring. But if you think about it, there's not near at this point at least, they're not near as surgical as they are in the NFL about, hey, they pinpoint. They're like, you better come up with something. Like, I'll give you an example. Aaron Rodgers popped up on the injury report with another injury I heard today. And I'm like, another injury, right? Okay. So, and because there's so much money, but there's a lot of money going in on these hockey games now too. So at some point, I just wonder if the MGM and all these, guys that are DraftKings and are going to be like, hey guys,
A little bit more information.
you're going to need to give us more because we're pouring a whole bunch of money into you. You need to give us a bit more. So it'd be interesting. I don't know. Maybe it's enough now, but anyways, yeah. So Celebrini, he got injured in their first game. He was unbelievable in their first game. I watched that. And then, yeah, they lost in overtime, I believe, to St. Louis. And I think they're 0-5-1. So I was really keeping my fingers crossed that, San Jose can kind of right the ship because you don't want to see any, we don't want to see them have another tough year.
We know it's going to be a tough season for them, but as long as they can keep some sort of excitement going, like it's a difference between it being a tough season and no future, right?
Yeah.
So
well,
it's
comparable.
Yeah.
A tough season was the Blackhawks last year. Connor Bedard, right, was great. Then he was out for a while, but he's back. There's excitement, right? This year, right? They're filling the United Center again. They're excited about what's going on. Tough season was Utah / Arizona last year, right? Right? You know what I mean? Now they're filling up the Delta Center, which is ironic. That's another building I played in, so I can say, yeah, I played. So there's 3 left in the NHL that I played in. Because I'm adding the Delta Center, even though I wasn't in the NHL when that happened.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm just going to take it. But
take it.
So that's a tough season, right? But now this year, man, boom, it's great up there. They're very, these guys. I was just thinking about that. How crazy is it for the Utah players to play in front of basically play 82 road games the last couple of years, and then they go into Utah where the fans know what's going on. And they're just going crazy. And plus, it's an unbelievable city. Like don't get me wrong. Like if I had to pick a place in the States to live, Phoenix would be on my list. But Salt Lake is up there too. And so
pretty good, yeah.
And now they've got all that energy and they're off to a good start. They're kind of, leveled a little bit here last couple of games, but they're right in the mix for the Central Division. And as we sit here today, make a run for a playoff spot.
They had a tough one last night, but yeah.
Yeah, they got, first home loss. And then Ottawa's here on Friday, which I'm really excited. We talked about them. Travis
Ottawa
Green
looks pretty good, yeah.
Travis,
pretty good.
He knows, like Greeny knows how he wants them to play. And he's very good at articulating that. And he wants them to play fast and hard. And you go, well, everybody wants their teams to play that way. But he wants them on their front foot. He wants pressure. And another team that plays like that, or I guess Carolina wants constant pressure. The only difference is Carolina gets every puck and they rim every puck on the boards. I don't think you're going to see that quite as much out of Ottawa. But you've got a new owner, you got a new goalie, and you got a new coach, and a lot to be excited about there.
Let's talk about 2 more teams, and then we'll skedaddle. I want to talk about Boston. I want to talk about Montgomery and him having. Why am I blanking on his name?
Marchand.
I want to call him Beak. I was like, oh God, I know. I want to call him Beekman. It was crazy. But when was it's been a while since we've seen a coach and a player get into it kind of like that. How long do you think, like, there's got to be a little bit of residual effect between them two? I don't care who you are. You've got to have a little bit of residual effect because it was on TV and because it was so much in the press, and just I just think that I don't think it can be let go that easy.
Well, that's a great.
Also, I need to bring up one point. He's been let go because of a problem in a city before. Does it worry you at all that there might be, like, he's in programs, but when you look at something like that and him falling apart, not falling apart, but going off the deep end like that,
like a relapse.
Yeah,
is that a fair word?
That's exactly what I thought when I was just like, as soon as I seen that. Yeah. What did you think? Well, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I was just like, So
I can't. Okay, well, let's just talk about what was on TV. In today's day and age, I would rather have it out there in the moment. Boom, we're talking about it. It happened, instead of some leaked video or some video week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later leaking out, and it gaining a whole new, going in a whole another direction and gaining a whole new life. This is out there now. He was sour at Marchand. He didn't like what he saw from his captain. And I think it's fine to go ahead and just, I guess in that case, he called out his captain, which it's so hard to tell in the moment of what is going on because Boston it was a low scoring game. They were right in there. Obviously, maybe he didn't just snap because he saw that one play happen. It could have been a cumulative effect of Marchand, stuff he didn't like creeping into Marchand's game, or stuff he saw in the team's play, and then he went to his captain and snap. It's really easy to say, hey, it would have been better for him to grab him in between periods or just go down and go, hey, you're better than that. I didn't like this. You come on. I need more out of you. You know that puck's got to go in, or you can't be stick handling there, or whatever it is, or because Marchand's a really, really fantastic player, smart guy. So I don't know. I just think there's some pressure. He's an original six team coach. A lot of pressure on those coaches, especially in Boston, where the level of expectation is so high. I don't know if something else is going on, but I think if he could have that one back, he might want to have it back a little bit. But at the same time, if you're going to hold anyone to the highest standard, your captain is the guy that he's the leader of your team. And I think Marchand is going to be just fine and respond. And maybe the rest of the team rallies around, goes, you know what, coach, screw you. We're going to support our buddy and lift him up. And collectively they all win then, right? Not so much screw you, but you're not always going to be best buddies with your coach. Like, I'm sure every team, it seems like Cooper has a really good feel and relationship with his players in Tampa. But you know what? When he gets on one of them, they all notice. And I think maybe Monty, as he goes by, I think maybe he got to a point where it's like, hey, we need to send a message that this, whatever happened, whatever he saw from Marchand is not acceptable for the Boston Bruins. And I mean, here, what's this team now? 16, 17, 18 years in a row making the playoffs. So you know what? They know how to get it done out there. They've won a cup, since 11, but that just goes to show you how hard it is to win it because they get there every year and they've only won one in the last 16 or 17 years, which is more than 11 other teams in the league have done. But yeah, I don't know. I think
there was a lot of things that went through my head when I seen it. I was like, oh, and I was like when they like, oh, he touched him. I'm like, he didn't touch him.
No, hang on a second. Let's just do it this way. Okay. Yeah, you're not, you know what? That's really like coaches berating players is one thing and putting their hands on them is a total another thing, right? There's a lot more emphasis on people have, they're focused in on that now. But let's just contrast and compare, if you will. Travis Kelce comes off during the Super Bowl and almost bowls over Andy Reid because he's so fired up. And Andy Reid, whoa. He kind of gets himself back, lets it go, right? And then comes back after, and they're like, oh my God. Now, if they would have lost, that would have been even a bigger story. It was a big story. And Andy Reid's kind of take on it was afterwards, he was like, you know what? I next time I'm going to be ready for him. You know what? Like when he goes to run me, same thing. So that was a moment that could have just absolutely blown apart what was going on with the Kansas City Chiefs. They found a way to roll through it and handle it in the moment. How does Boston do the same thing?
But I think that's part of everything in life. How do you find a way to roll through it? Like no matter what goes sideways, how do you find a way? And I think people have to, instead of going, like, let's see let's how these people deal with this and how you roll through it. And you should be able to do that as a person not playing sports. You got to figure out a way to roll. I think you get rid of a lot of road rage if people could be cut off without losing their minds and figure out how to roll with it. Like it's the same thing. Anyways,
Well,
Ian Bagg.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I get it. We had a player run into a coach versus a coach and a player. I am positive that those two have talked person to person. I'm
Absolutely.
pretty sure, like they've talked it out, and we'll see how this progresses as the season goes on. It could be a catalyst for the Bruins. It could be a nothing burger, just part of it. Like you see where I'll give you an example on the Amazon Prime specials they're doing right now. McDavid losing his mind on his team, and then they pulled a curtain in front of the camera in the finals last year.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, everybody, this stuff happens. These guys are yeah, they're superstars. You know what? They're the top of the top. All these players, guys like McDavid's, Marchand. Well, they're top of the top of the top, right? And you got guys that are your one percenters that play in the league, and then you've got the upper echelon of those guys, which are Marchand and McDavid both fall into. It's not, it means something. And in Monty's defense, I could see him coming down the bench and giving it to him. The push, maybe a little, like, you know what, he got his point across. You could hear him, whatever. But this is big time. This is big time, right? These guys are playing for a lot of marbles, and so obviously, handling his emotions, maybe he might have wanted to do it a little bit differently. But to be quite honest with you, and I played in the minors against Montgomery years ago. He's a really good player. He's a lot more fiery than I thought. But you know what? He was in where? St. Louis. Then he was in Dallas, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and now
No, he was in Dallas and then he was in St. Louis.
Dallas and St. Louis, and now he's in Boston. So there's not going to be any secrets. Like these guys around the league, they're like, oh my goodness, was this something new no one had ever seen? Monty's a lot more fiery than I thought he was, but he kind of played a little fiery as a player too. And wasn't the biggest guy. So Cam Neely and Don, the GM in Boston, Sweeney, thank you. Is it Don? There was two Sweeneys, right? The big tall centerman. I think it's Don. Anyways, it's Sweeney's his last name. Sorry, butchering it. I don't think
How
they're sitting
dare
there
you?
going, "Oh my goodness, I can't." Where did this come from? I think
No,
they
I
look
don't.
at it,
I don't think. No, I don't think any of that's going
so
on. I just wanted to get your point on it. To me, I was just like, ooh, you just hope the guy's doing okay. That was the big thing.
yeah, you know what, and that's a good way to look at it too. But as we'll find out, right? We'll find out.
Yeah,
This thing will play itself out. Boston's going to be in the mix, and I think part of that, though, him coming down and getting on him, is been some of the, they are expected to be a cup
they're the big bad
semifinalist.
Bruins. They're supposed
Cup
to be the big bad Bruins.
Yeah,
That's what they're
and
supposed to be.
the 2 years he's been there, they've been knocked. They were swept by Florida, and they
Mm-hmm.
got knocked out again last year. So this could be a little bit of, hey, it hasn't been good enough, and that's definitely not good enough. So it's not good enough now in October. It's certainly not going to be good enough in April or May. So that could be planting a seed for the whole team too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I gotta get running. I gotta take Pearl to the vet, so we're not gonna get to Winnipeg this week, but we'll talk about them next week when Millard's back and Jeff's back and I'm back. We'll talk about that. Let's do shoutouts real quick before I get out of here.
Okay.
You want to do one, or do you want me to do one?
You can do one.
All right. Mine's a Winnipeg shout out. I'm sending it out to Wade Flaherty, who helped me hook up a friend of mine. Grew up in Winnipeg, and he's down here, married to an American girl, and he's a big Winnipeg Jets fan. And he's back visiting his parents, where he was Maxwell is his name, and where he was introducing his wife to his father, and saying, "Hey, you're going to be a grandfather." And they were in Winnipeg. So I contacted Wade, and he hooked them up with 2 tickets to go see the afternoon game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So big shout out for Wade, always dealing with tickets and helping me out to get a friend to be able to see the game. Look at that. Try topping that, Jeff.
And it's tough to do because you got flats to spend some money. So that was good. And
No, he didn't spend any money.
he didn't. I thought you put it on the hook. And oh, by the way, flats. Thanks for the 250. You had to shell out for my friends.
He may have spent money on it, but I hope he didn't spend any money on it. I'll give it to him. It'll be easy. It's Canadian.
Don't worry about it. We'll send him an Enjoying Orange Slices T-shirt. He'll be fine.
Oh, he'll love that.
I can't top that really. So, but I'll just give a shout out to our friends on the Canadian-US border, Stuart and Hyder, Alaska. We're like this. There we go. Put the hands together. Okay. just like the nexus of Canadian-US flag. Really unique place in the world, Stuart, British Columbia, and Hyder, Alaska. So a shout out to all our friends up there that listen to the show, and thank you so much. Love to all.
Love to all.